All right, joining us now, it's the man, Greg Tepper. He's the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Greg, it's great to have you on again. We enjoy having you on as always.
Yeah, of course. I always love talking to my friends down there in the Brazos Valley. I should also bring up something. I just realized, in the age of digital backgrounds and stuff like that, this is a real background. Look at it; it's moving. It's like
Oh,
an
hey,
actual
there you
cloth
go.
How
thing.
about that?
Yeah. Wow. So we can't afford the digital backgrounds here at Dave Campbell, so we got to go with the cloth. It's
That's right.
we're slumming it here at Dave Campbell's.
That's great. Well, yeah, we know this is a crazy time for you guys. Yeah, I mean, how crazy, but also how fun is this part of the year for y'all at Dave Campbell's? We know how much content y'all churn out during the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a wild time of year, but it's a great time. It's the most exciting time of the year. It's when you don't have to talk yourself out into getting up out of bed. Because what's on the line. What's on the horizon. And this week, especially in entering the first round of the Texas high school football playoffs, there are 352 UIL games that are win or go home, and you don't have to talk people into the stakes. You don't have to talk people into why this game is important. It's obvious. And the thing that I think is most fun about this time of year is that this is when the neutral fan and the casual fan kind of checks in. For a lot of us nerds, we're just locked into it all year long and stuff. We're locked in. Now it's the playoffs, and maybe your local team's in the playoffs. Oh, hey, I'll go see how Franklin's doing. Oh, they're the number one team. That's great. Oh, how's A&M Consolidated doing? Oh, they've got a great opportunity to make a run. Things like that. This is when you start to get the casual high school football fan check in, and that's what makes it even more fun because there's so much growth to be had in this sport with people getting interested in it, and anytime we get an opportunity for people to pay attention to high school football, it's a fun time of year.
Well, it's been 4 years since the Brazos Valley team has won a state championship, but there's for sure one bona fide team that's a state title contender, and there's another that's got the skill and the speed that they could make a run if they can get past the gauntlet of teams. So let's start with that last Brazos Valley team to win a state championship, and that's the College Station Cougars. They've been number 2 in y'all's poll all season long behind defending state champion Denton Ryan, who had to beat the Cougars last year to get there. Greg, what's impressed you the most about this College Station team this year?
A lot of attention is going to be paid to the offense, and for understandable reasons. Jet Huff has been unbelievable. Marquise Collins, all the playmakers they've got on that offense, and they're hitting on all cylinders. But for me, the difference this year has been their defense, and Jackson Slanker and what they've done on the defensive side has been awfully, awfully impressive against a really good and I would say pretty high-powered offensive district, right? District 8-5A Division 1 has a lot of teams that can score. I mean, Magnolia West, Magnolia. I mean, they can go on and on and on. I mean, New Caney, that's a team that can score in bunches as well, and they've been able to neutralize them. What strikes me about College Station is there are teams that are 10-0, and you're going, okay, well, kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't know if that other shoe is going to drop for College Station. I think that we've seen them navigate a difficult schedule. We've seen them go through and play in a tough district and come out unscathed, and they've looked every bit the part of a state championship contender. Last week against Magnolia West, I think they got the kind of push that you want heading into the playoffs, and they still won by 21. Right, that's the mark of a dominant program. And so, yeah, when you took a look at what Steve Huff has built there, we knew that last year they were a year early. Well, this year has arrived, and they have arrived with it. It is really impressive to see what they've done. They look like one of the most complete teams in the state, and that is at any level, and that is saying something. They are the real deal. And if you have not paid attention to College Station on a statewide perspective, it's time to start paying attention right now.
Yeah, Greg, you mentioned obviously the other teams in that region are crazy tough teams that College Station is going to have to get through if they want to go to state, but they won't have to. The Cougars won't have to face Den Ryan in the second round in the area again. But do you think they have a harder road, considering they might see Frisco Lone Star or Highland Park when they get to this next round?
Yeah, you're not seeing the big giant, but that in the land of giants, you're gonna have to run into some eventually. And I would actually say, there's an argument to be made that they got put in what we would call the dirty side of the region, right? Just because of the way that things break out, that you're probably looking at a second round matchup with Frisco Lone Star, a team that went toe to toe, wire, basically all the way to the final gun with Denton Ryan and had them on the ropes. That is a really good Frisco Lone Star team. a top 5 team in the state. And then you add in a team that they could see in the next round in Highland Park. Perhaps you've heard of them. And a team that is hitting on all cylinders as well. New quarterback Brennan Storer has really stepped up. Their defense has been excellent as well. You got 3 of the top 5 teams in 5A Division I, not just in one region, 1/2 of one region. I mean, that's remarkable stuff. And so for College Station, there's no doubt that they'll have to earn it. I mean, they could go Frisco Lone Star, who's number 5 in our rankings, going then to Highland Park, who's number 3 in our rankings, and then potentially Denton Ryan, who's number 1 in our rankings in consecutive weeks. If they are to get to AT&T Stadium, there is nobody who's going to say they cheated their way there. They have earned it, all going the hardest road that there is. Region 2 is the power nexus in 5A Division I, and College Station is going to have to bring their A game every single week to get to AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, they've been knocked out of the playoffs in that area around the last 3 seasons. To the 3 teams we just mentioned, kind of seeing what this team's made of, you think this is the year that the Cougars finally get past that second round?
I do. I think College Station is a team that can win it all. I think they could be the best team in 5A Division I. I think that I'll say this, every team that we've mentioned there, I can kind of identify a pretty clear flaw this year. Denton Ryan, I have some big time questions about their offense. For Frisco Lone Star, their offense kind of similarly has had sputters at times. For Highland Park, I'm not sure that they're built to win any sort of shootout. College Station, I don't know if I can point to a point of a weakness on their team, like a clear weakness. That's where you attack them. Now, that's not to say they don't exist. And you're also going to have to deal with some of the very best coaches in the state who are going to identify what you do wrong, and they're going to keep pressing on that open wound over and over and over. But this College Station team looks complete. And this actually, there's a chance that this team's better than that 2017 team. I mean, it's really that good. And what they've got, it feels really special, and it would not be a surprise for us to get to the end of the season and then be hoisting a trophy there at AT&T Stadium on that final Friday night of the year.
Well, down in 3A Division II, Franklin's been wire-to-wire number 1, and nobody has been able to keep up with them all season, except Lorena in that season opener, who's probably a dark horse in 3A1. Just looking at Franklin as a team, what can you say about the depth that they have, especially for a school down at 3A Division II?
It is kind of unmatched what they have there, like the between the skill position guys that they've got, and I also think just the big uglies up front that they got, the line play that they get is so remarkable. I mean, between Bryson Washington, Malcolm Murphy, Hayes Tomachek, the guys that they've got, plus guys like Russell Stiegel up front, this team is loaded at every position, and we knew that they had an opportunity to do that after their run to the state championship game and coming within literally seconds of winning a state championship, and then you see what they come back with. It's not surprising that they're this good. The fact that they've been this dominant, I think, is a little bit surprising because this is not, I think a lot of people look at the style of offense they run, and it's not necessarily predicated on putting up big points, but they've been outrageous, and their defense has been outrageous. And you're right, by the way, that their week one win over Lorena has aged extremely well. Their win over Cameron Yo has aged extremely well. I mean, they went through a difficult district where they pummeled Rogers, right? They have basically it's been a no contest to everyone in their path. And I hate to play spoiler alert here, but that's going to continue for a couple of weeks at least. They're going to be heavy favorites over Danbury. They're going to be heavy favorites over either Hebronville or Stockdale. They're going to be heavy favorites over anyone that they would see in a regional semifinal. I think the second best team in that region, in Region 4, is probably Poth. And right now, I think they would be double-digit favorites over Poth. They're that good. They're that dominant. The semifinal is always a dangerous thing. I mean, you saw what happened last year. Whoever they see there will be a quality opponent. But they are not just the favorite in Region 4. They are the prohibitive runaway favorite in Region 4. And right now, they seem like they are dead set on heading towards AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, Greg, me and Alex have talked about it all season. We don't think they're going to be challenged until late, if they even are, like you mentioned. But is it safe to say, I know we're not even in the first round of the playoffs yet, it's not Friday, but Is it safe to pencil them in for that trip to Arlington? Who might they see there from Region 1 or 2?
Yeah, I think that they are the favorite on the right side of the bracket. I'll say that. I think that I would pick them right now. Sports gun to my head. I would pick them against anybody in Region 3. It depends on who you see out of Region 3. They can provide challenges. I think Wascom's a really talented squad and can hang with them. They've got a lot of team speed on there. But for now, I think you have to look at them as a favorite to make it to Arlington. As far as who they'd see, I think that there's kind of a similarly dominant team on the other side of the bracket they could see, and it's a program that people are probably used to seeing. It's Gunner. Gunner out of North Texas, kind of the Texoma area. They have been outstanding, and a team that last year they went toe to toe with Canadian, ended up losing in the semifinal. They've met 4 straight years in the semifinal, I believe, against one another. But Gunner looks the part. They've got a Texas Tech commit at quarterback and Hut Graham. They run that kind of pistol wing tee offense that is very hard to stop. And so it's going to test them in a big way. I have thought that those are the 2 best teams in 3A Division 2 for pretty much the entirety of the season. I think that gap has only grown as the season has gone on, separating those 2 from the pack. What happens when they get on the field? I mean, we'll find out. It is a fascinating matchup, a clash in styles, a clash in regions. That would be fun to watch. Got to get there first. There's a lot of teams. The thing about Franklin this year is that they're going to get everybody's best shot. Everyone's going to throw the kitchen sink at them on every single game. They're going to have to make sure they finish every single game in order to get to Arlington. But right now, if you're asking me who's playing in Arlington, I would say it's Franklin taking on Gunner in what could be a whale of a 3A Division 2 title game.
Who are maybe some other Brazos Valley schools you got your eye on? Hey, for the first time ever, we've got all 4 teams in Bryan College Station in the playoffs. The Rudder Rangers making their playoff debut on Friday at Marshall.
Yeah, how about the Rudder Rangers? I think they have been an unbelievable story across the season. And by the way, that is not fluky. That's a good team. That's a straight up good football team, deserving of being in the playoff and deserving where they're at. They get a tough test in week 1 or round 1 rather, against a Marshall team that has been up and down. Their ceiling is extremely high. But the depending on where they fall, for Rudder, if they can come out here and kind of dictate the terms of engagement in the trenches, I think they got a great opportunity to win a playoff game. Crosby would loom in the second round, but you worry about that when you get there. For me, I also look at a team. I think people may have forgotten about A&M Consolidated a little bit because of those 2 losses, and we're just not used to seeing that from them. But they're still a very good squad. I think they're big time favorites over Mount Pleasant. And then look, they get a shot at probably the favorite in 5A Division 2, at least on the right side of the bracket, in Fort Bend Marshall. And that has been a program that's been running over people, but at the same time, this is an A&M Consolidated team that we know is not going to be scared. And so I think A&M Consolidated certainly got an opportunity to make a run there as well. I'm also, I'm interested. Consider me interested. I'll just say this. Consider me interested in what Bryan can do. This is a program that I think is excited to be there. This is not, I think people are seeing, Cedar Hill. This is a team that played for a state championship last year. This is not that juggernaut Cedar Hill team. Cedar Hill's vulnerable. And this could be one of those things where, from a brand name perspective, it's a big upset if Bryan knocks off Cedar Hill. But as far as like what the X's and O's and what these 2 teams look like, I don't think it'll be a huge shock if Bryan beats Cedar Hill. I think they've got a great opportunity to do that. Your reward may be unbeaten Garland, but at the same time, winning a playoff game would be huge, especially dethroning the reigning state runners up. So I'm very intrigued by seeing what they are able to do coming up this week. Traveling to Cedar Hill is no particular joy there, but I think that's going to be an interesting game that I've got my eye on, because I do think that the Vikings have an opportunity to send some shockwaves across the state.
Yeah, go ahead, Abigail. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask him about Centerville. I know me and you, Alex, have talked about Centerville possibly being that quiet, team that we have in the Brazos Valley here that could possibly make it far this year. How fortunate is Centerville that Beckville and Timpson are on the opposite side of that region 3 bracket?
Yeah. They, we talked a little bit earlier about the clean and dirty side of the bracket. I don't think there's any doubt really that they are on the clean side of the bracket. That's exactly where you want to live in 2A Division 1, because look, they are, this is in Region 3, there is a clear, I would say locked in favorite in Timpson. Timpson looks like a juggernaut. I mean, an absolute wrecking machine there in the Bears. But the good thing is you wouldn't have to see them till a regional final. And if you're Centerville, you're thrilled with making it to a regional final. That would be fantastic stuff there. And so, look, I think they've got a great opportunity there. In fact, if you want to install them as the favorite to make it to a regional final, I think that's fair. It will be, I think, a tough matchup with an underrated Garrison team in the second round, and then maybe see a team like Shelbyville or Holland in the third round. But I think that the path is clear for them to a regional final. Now, taking on Timpson is a different animal, but getting there would certainly be a feather in the cap for that Tigers program.
Well, Greg, I think we covered our bases. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes to talk with us. Hey, before we let you go, how can everybody stay up to date with all the coverage at Dave Campbell's throughout the playoffs?
Yeah, TexasFootball.com /playoffs. We've got your playoff brackets. We've got all of your matchup information, because I know, look, there's 352 Texas high school football playoff games this weekend. It's the largest elimination round of any tournament in the world ever. And so it's a lot to keep up with. We try to keep it organized at TexasFootball.com /playoffs. So make sure you go and check it out and download your brackets. You can print them. Fill them out. We got a bracket challenge going on. All sorts of craziness there at TexasFootball.com /playoffs. We got you covered all the way to AT&T.
All right, well, Greg, thanks for coming on, and maybe we'll see you down the road in Arlington.
Yeah, here's hoping we can meet up there in Arlington.
All right.